Good morning. Well, I shot the majority of this yesterday, and I go through these listings every day, virtually, when I have coffee in the morning while I sit and go through these. And I was slow getting the other one edited. I started editing it. I'm going to throw it out here later today. But as I was looking this morning, there was a couple that caught my eye, and one of them's one that's definitely misleading. The other one's one that we've already showed how to build, and these used parts are so far overpriced that it's not even funny. So I thought I'd go back and add these in just for a reference for you, so you know, we're trying to make these affordable. So the first one, which is actually the one that was listed before, it's the second one, is an Atlas Craftsman 10-12-inch lathe compound rest swivel top pins and screws, pre-owned, $23.95 and $5.10 shipping. Now these are from a seller that's been around for a long time. I've purchased from this seller in the past. For a used set of the pins and the screws to hold them in, we showed how to build the pins. I've listed them for I think $5 a set and $3 shipping or something like that. And the screws that go in them, I told you could get them from your local. I got mine when I built this for from my local Ace Hardware, so you can get them at any of the big box stores. These are a square-headed 3/8 18, I believe, is the thread on them. They're a standard square-headed bolt that you'll find in all the little kind of specialty bolt bins at all the big box stores, and they're inch long, and you polish the ends down so they're basically flat and smooth so that when they ride against the back of those pins. So for $8, and a little bit of shipping from me, you've got them. If you want to build them yourself, you've got, it's 5/16 rod. They're approximately 3/4 of an inch long. I'll have to go back and measure mine, but I believe they're about 3/4 of an inch overall length, and they've got the bevel on them. We showed how to do that in one of the earlier videos. So $23.95 and $6 shipping, $5.10 shipping. You've got $29 in a set of used parts that you can replace with new parts that are you can make fit your lathe a little bit easier since you're doing it anyway. For $3 or $4 for me, shipping and everything, you're $12, $13. I have not listed the screws yet. If anybody's interested, I'll trot myself right over to the local Ace Hardware store and probably charge $3 for a pair of them, to keep everybody going. So wanted everybody to be aware of that one. And that's just because they're overpriced. We're parting out these machines. They're parting out these machines, which I absolutely hate anyway. And they're trying to take advantage of you and make their retirement on these. The other one is a new listing. This has been listed before, I believe, and didn't sell. Original Atlas Craftsman 10-12-inch lathe lead screw bearing bracket part. It gives the part number here in the description, I believe. $47 and $8.25 shipping. Now this is misleading. This is a misleading ad here, and this is from a relatively new seller. Got pretty good feedback from him. He doesn't have a whole lot of feedback there yet in the world of Fleabay. But this says original Atlas Craftsman 10-12-inch lathe lead screw bearing bracket part number 10F16 used, excellent condition. And there's where we have a problem. It shows a lead screw bearing. Let's read the description before we go back and look at it here. Excellent original. Now keep that in mind too. Atlas Craftsman 10-12-inch lathe lead screw bracket part number 10F-16, 1/2 inch bore, mounting hardware included as shown. Always happy to combine shipping. Now when you look at the pictures on this, and there's 4 pictures here, this is not excellent. It's used. You can see some definite markings on it. Now it is usable, but it's not excellent. And when you look at the pictures, it says excellent condition. Look closely at this. It's kind of a teal green color, or a little bit of maybe more of an olive drab color. If you look at this closely, this has been sandblasted and then repainted. So is it excellent original? Now it's an original part, but it's not an original condition, and it's not excellent by any means. If you look, you can see under this light coating of paint, it's been sandblasted off because there's a little bit of paint left on there that's been painted over. Wasn't completely sandblasted off, and this is a seller that's been sandblasting or bead blasting parts. When you look at the second picture, it shows the back, same thing. If you look down in the crevices and things, there's a little bit of flaky paint that's still left on there that didn't get cleaned off. Third picture gives the part number on the back side. You can still see that same flaking down in there. Not in original condition. And the last picture shows it from the end where the lead screw would bear against the end of this. This is scored quite a bit. You're going to see that scoring anyway on a, even if you install a new one, it's going to scar up like that from the lead screw turning. But to say this is in excellent condition is will be kind and say misleading to the buyers here. So, and when you look at the very first picture, if you look at the left-hand side of that bearing, you can see where it's rolled up, where the edges are rolled up, where it's been bearing against the lead screw. So, and original mounting hardware. Now, this has got, this has, I believe, Atlas screws. I'm not sure they are original to the lead screw bearing. Now, it could be, they did some changes over the years and stuff. My parts list and everything, and I believe every of these lead screw bearings that I've seen installed on a lathe that I thought was original has had a hex head bolt on it. And that's what the parts list called for, is a hex head bolt. And I believe they're a 1/4 inch. Let's see, let's look very quickly. We can do that. If we look in a original parts list and look at these, the original screws are a 1/4 20 by 3/4 inch hex cap screw is what they call for in my parts list, which shows the 10F lathes. So I think this listing is very misleading. It's a used lead screw bearing. That's what we've got there. I would say, and that will go, that should probably sell for about, for what they're going for in real world and what they should be, I'd say that may be a $20 part if you need one. But bear in mind, it's going to be a worn part. Now some of these had a oil light bushing inside them. Some of them were just bore on the Zamac. So to make it usable, it could be bored out, even if it doesn't have an insert in it, and you could put an oil light bushing in there for another $5 in your time. So, pays your money, takes your chances, but this one is overpriced. So anyway, I'll get along, I'll put this at the beginning, and we'll finish editing the rest of this video behind it and get it out here today for you. And hopefully you found this a little bit interesting, and you can use it when you start evaluating parts. Well, I thought we better do a Fleabay edition update here. I started to do this yesterday morning, and it was really kind of depressing to me, and this whole week's been kind of So anyway, I thought we should go through some of this. There's some not necessarily interesting things here, but things that we can do better and less expensively. So let's go through and see what we've got. Milling machines. I don't really see any new parts here other than some milling attachments that they're $400 for. What are we thinking? There's I'd invest your money other places if you don't already have one. A milling attachment, while they are useful on the little lathes, why they're kind of our lighting's really off here, sorry about that. They are a compromise in the way we do things. So, if you have to have one, I suppose you're going to have to invest the money, although I'd be looking for a better deal than that. They should be, what they should be is about half of that, but anyway. So otherwise, I don't really see anything on milling machines here. Nothing new that we either haven't talked about before or is even worth talking about. There's no parts that are worth having. If we look at shapers, why that same plastic side plates on there for 35 bucks. That it's. Now here is and these are things that have been on here for a while. I haven't done anything with this stuff for the last few days just because I haven't felt like dealing with these foolish people here. There's enough foolishness going on in the world. But anyway, so these are older parts that have been listed for a while. Here's a 7B shaper table shaft lock screw, 5/16, 18 threads. I'm assuming this goes to the foot onto the 7B underneath. This is not an Atlas part. This is somebody's aftermarket something, 20 bucks and $5 shipping. While it's a cool little thing, it's a aftermarket thing. It's not original to an Atlas machine as far as I know. Every one that I've ever seen, including mine, has a hex bolt locking it into the standard split cotters that Atlas uses. So, you know, advertised as an Atlas 7B, but it's not a factory part. Same outfit that's doing the machined aluminum gear cases for the shaper, they're doing a gear case now for the outside that they want a fair amount of money for. I've not seen these don't get damaged, so if you don't have one, you need a whole assembly. So in my opinion, it's not worth investing. By the time you put a case and the cover on from this seller, you've got $400 in it, or better than $400 in it, plus, well, maybe not shipping, but then you don't have any of the internals for it either. So by the time you're done there with this kind of a setup, you've got $600 or $700 in a cross feed on an Atlas shaper that should only go for $800 or $900 all told. This is not, these are not good deals. There's just literally not any good deals here. And I get kind of tired of saying this same old song, but every once in a while something worth having will pop up. But for the most part, people are just they're way out of line on this stuff. You're better off new and used parts. Let's go ahead and look at the lathes here, and I see some new things here that I haven't seen before. I glanced at this stuff this morning, but I haven't done anything with it. Here's a new listing: metal lathe bench legs, Logan, South Bend, Atlas Craftsman. That looks like a set of Atlas. And it's on a bid, $350 best offer, free local pickup. What are these? This is a seller that's been around. I'm sure they are, they've parted out the rest of the machine or will shortly part it out. Yeah, from appearances, this looks like a set of Atlas legs. That's about, on buy it now, they're $400. Metal cast lathe bench legs, Logan, South Bend, Atlas Craftsman, needs a good cleaning, has wear and tear, and needs paint. I don't see any cracks or damage, pickup only. Yeah, they're a pretty ugly set of legs. They'd clean up nice, but there again, isn't worth spending $350 on a set of legs. Most guys are going to opt to mount them on a bench. So, okay, 10, 12-inch metal lathe, 54-inch bed, quick change 54, $165 bid. Let's see. Yeah, this is from that same seller. This bed may or may not have been, the legs are a different color than this. It's a QC 54082780 is the serial number on it. Let's just look at the bed and see what it looks like. Let's see what the listing says. Metal lathe, 54-inch bed and feet. Pickup only, needs a good cleaning and very minimal wear. It's got very minimal wear. It's it's going to be good. It's going to be good. Let's look at it. Paint's ugly on it. Rusted, pitted. I mean, it's kind of shiny on top, but it's got wear all along. This thing's a piece of shit. It is definitely dirty, but yeah, it's all pitted out right in front of the headstock area. This thing's a piece of junk. Why? Don't be supporting these guys. I could candy coat it, say, oh, well, it'd work into a good thing. You could find a good use for it and everything. And you can find a good use for these old wore out lathes. That's what I built my turret lathe, my Atlas turret lathe out of, was an old wore out bed. And it works really well for that. But I'm not giving $165 for it. That's way overpriced for something that's junk. Those are worth scrap metal prices. Is what those are worth when they do that. 10-inch lathe tailstock, $80 and $15 shipping. Different seller, good condition, no bolt or clamp. Paint's chipped out on it. What's their description? Yeah, no description at all. This is a seller that's been around, does quite a bit of stuff, parts out some of these. Model South Bend, machine type metal lathe, brand Atlas. It's an Atlas. It's an Atlas tailstock. That's what I've noticed is these guys are listing them when they don't even really know part of the time what they are or they do. They're just too lazy to change the listing around to say what it actually is. Paint's chipped out of the back on the casting pretty much all over. There's some corrosion and pitting on the ram. It's been polished down a little bit. You look inside the bore, it looks pretty ragged inside. Looks like there's some rust inside the taper. The hand wheel's all pitted out on the spokes. You know, I don't think that's just dirt. I think we've got some chrome that's rusted, or it's rusted there. Hand wheel's the same way. It's or the knob, locking knob, it'd be okay, but it's pretty grungy. This is I guess the nicest way I can put these is a lot of these parts are worth scrap metal prices. They're worth whatever scrap metal is worth by the pound. That's about all these are good for. There's no, they're cleaning them up a little bit, but these are ugly. These are not even good condition. This is stuff that they've done away. New factory Atlas Craftsman 6-inch lathe M6-61 and 3950-22 cross slide, brand new. This is the hand wheel, and this is from a seller that's doing a lot of these. And this probably is a new hand wheel. This is one of the balanced hand wheels. And new OEM factory original cross-slide handle assembly. New steel part. Now, it's not factory original, or it's not original if it's steel, because those were Zamac. 5/16 bore and 16th key, and a 16th inch key. Now that might be proper for it. And this may be what Atlas this may be what Clausing is supplying now, but it's not an original handle. So new OEM, that indicates that it must have come from Clausing. So if you are in the market for that, inquire with Clausing and see what they're actually selling them for. And this is a seller that I noticed he's building quite a few parts, but they are extremely high. And he's purchasing some parts and reselling them, and they are extremely high. And I'll bet these next few are from the same seller. Here's a Atlas Craftsman Dunlop 109 lathe, new tooling package, drill chuck and centers. Now, they're marketed as Atlas Craftsman. This is not for an Atlas machine. Craftsman also offered a 6-inch Dunlop Model 109, and that's what a lot of these parts that I'm seeing him do now are for, is a Dunlop 109. And it's a little bit lighter duty lathe than the 6-inch. In the headstock, instead of bearings, it has bushings, smaller spindle, and it does run in bushings and things like that. So it's a lighter duty lathe. We turned our nose up at them for years and years. They've got a little bit of a following. Now, Atlas Craftsman Dunlop 109 model lathe, new 3-piece tooling package, 1/2-inch capacity drill chuck with key and number 0 shank, live and dead centers. Now, what these are going to be a Chinese import, I'm speculating. $99 is to buy it now. I have not investigated these at all, other than from what I do know about some of these parts. I'll bet these are all Chinese imports, and I would encourage you to shop these from someplace like Shar's Tools. They do a lot of Chinese stuff. I don't do anything with Banggood, but I have done a little bit in the past. I would bet that you will find these same things at probably a third the cost from them. So shop these around. You know, one lot available, 3 items per lot, and condition is new. So be aware, you know, this is one of those sellers, and as I've said before, everybody has to make their money. Everybody's got to be there doing their thing someplace, some way. But it is more prudent for you to shop this stuff and find out where you're going to get the best deal for the same or better quality products. So there we go. 612-inch lathe, yeah, same guy. 941 lantern tool post rocker, new. 12 available. $24.99 and $6.10 shipping. All this is the tool post rocker for the lantern tool post. If you want to know how I built my last batch, why, there's a video on my Atlas turret lathe stuff, and I can't tell you which video it is. If I think about it, I'll go back and find it and link it in the description below. But I built a couple of these rockers for the tool post on mine, and I did them a little fancier than this. I cut a crosshatch pattern on the top of them on the shaper. These have just been lightly milled across the top, it looks like, some way to give them a little bit of serrations. These can be built pretty simply. If we want to delve into that a little bit deeper, we can do that. New 941 tool post rocker for Atlas Craftsman 612-inch lathes, and some Logan and South Bend too. Isn't that exciting? Okay. So, like I say, the prices for these new manufactured parts have gone way out of sight from this seller in particular. And of course that tends to drive the market, because one seller thinks they can get that much money out of them, so everybody and their brother jumps on it. Atlas 10S64 to change gear pre-owned. Now there's several gears here, as I remember looking this morning, although I only see the one. Starting bid on these is $6, $20 buy it now, $7 shipping. Now I did, when I was looking earlier, I saw that they had, someone had bid on one of these gears, and there was 3 or 4 listed this morning, I believe, and someone had bid on one of them with an opening bid, but it showed that there was a reserve on that gear. So you know, they're trying to start your bids low and still get a feeding frenzy going on them, you know, until it makes reserve. So $20 buy it now and $7 shipping. Yeah, I think that's still a little high. I've said that before. Here's somebody's parting out carriage traverse shaft. Buy it now, 25 bucks. Who is this? Now this is a seller that I don't really recognize, but someone else has decided they can make their fortune probably parting out machines. So now I did notice, now there's a thread dial indicator, pre-owned, $20 and no bids yet, or best offer, $6 shipping. I don't know what they're selling these for now. They were relatively inexpensive to buy them new. New listing. I've seen there's a bunch of wrenches being advertised, and I don't, I recognize the seller, but wrenches. We all want factory wrenches on our on our lathes and our mills and things like that. And it's more convenient because usually they were built for the machine, and they were pretty convenient usually. Atlas Craftsman lathe wrench. It's a Fairmont 0715 open-end wrench, and it got a number on it. A lot of these that you're going to see they will come with a machine when you buy a machine, and they're not necessarily a factory wrench. They're something that someone's put on there or picked up along the way, and they're being passed off as factory. You know, these old wrenches, while they're kind of cool to give 15 bucks and $5 shipping, you're giving 20 bucks for a $4 wrench, you know, something that somebody's picked up at a yard sale. Maybe it came with a machine, maybe not. Countershaft rockers, a bunch of parts. Now here's one that intrigues me. Doesn't intrigue me, it pisses me off. Steady and follow rest metal lathe LeBlond Atlas Logan South Bend telescopic. $549.99 or best offer and $35 shipping. Now there's quite a big difference between a steady and a follow rest on a Atlas lathe, or even an Atlas and a Logan lathe, and a LeBlond. You know, there's a little bit of difference there. Now, these are good looking rests. There's a steady and a follower here. I believe they've probably been modified. I don't believe they came factory with the knobs that are on them and some things like that. I think there's been some changes made to them. I think they're well-made rests. The problem I have with it is, we read the description. Steady and follow rest for a metal lathe. Unsure of what it would fit, but looks like maybe a South Bend or a LeBlond, but not sure. Please view all photos and make sure that it will fit your lathe. All measurements are in the photos below. They both are in good shape with signs of moderate use. They have shop dust, oily residue. The fingers have brass tips and everything moves freely. If you need other measurements or have questions, please ask. See all photos for details. Sold as is, no returns, thanks. Now, I would think that if you know what that fits, and they are in the condition that they are in, that might be a fair price if they're for one of the bigger lathes. Although they're not for a exceptionally large lathe. I would guess this is for about a 10 or 12 inch lathe is my guess, just from looking at the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I would guess a 10 or a 12 inch lathe from looking at the tape measures here and where it's falling on the parts. The opening on the steady rest is only about a 3.5 inch capacity type thing, and that will be stretching it on the steady rest and the follower rest. You know, you don't have a tremendous amount of capacity there. Now, if you know what you've got, that's one thing. When you don't even know what the heck you're selling, and you've decided you're going to put a big price on it because maybe somebody else will recognize what it is for you and give you big bucks for it, no, that I have very little respect for that. You better know what you're selling if you want big bucks for it. You know, if you're going to throw this out there and don't know what it is, well, this set of rests is probably worth 200 bucks, you know. If somebody else knows what it is and needs it, then they've gotten a good deal. You've made 200 bucks on something that you don't even know what it is you've got. So anyway, just a little bit of food for thought there. So we're seeing a whole lot less of these parts listed for as excellent condition. Bunch of 12-inch commercial stuff here, and I don't do the commercial, you know. These Atlas dimension charts, these original blueprint charts, I've probably got a complete set of these charts, originals, and then I've got a lubrication chart that I at one time reproduced. I think I've probably still got some around here, just a black and white chart. It's kind of been my intention to eventually reproduce those again, because we can do it a whole lot cheaper than $40 a piece. You know, that's too much. Too much. Atlas Craftsman 12-inch lathe countershaft bushings, L3-109, 2 pieces, brand new, $39.99 and $6.10 shipping. Now, I do not know the exact size of these, but we talked about this before. These are a standard oil light bushing. You can go to your local big box store and get those for about $5 a piece, or you can go to McMaster and probably pay about $2 a piece. Now, some of these I have machines or have parts that accept these parts. Some of them that they're doing this with, I don't. We're going to have to work something out to where we find out what the dimensions are on these one way or the other, because we need to be sourcing these for about $10 a piece rather than somebody trying to rape us for $45. That's a ripoff is all that is. What else do we got? 10, 12-inch lantern tool post, 75 bucks or best offer. Yeah, 15 bucks. Stupid, stupid, stupid. Atlas Craftsman lathe box wrench with half-inch hex hole, unknown manufacturer. Then how do you know it's even for an Atlas? You know, half-inch hex. What on an Atlas machine takes a half-inch hex? Now I'm assuming that's the hole. So is that a 1/4 inch? Is that a 5/16 hex head bolt? You know, I don't know. I don't know what that even fits. So yeah, you know, I'm kind of, it's getting to where when I look at some of this stuff, it's really kind of depressing, really. Atlas Craftsman 109, 6-inch lathe, half-inch spindle split collar, $12.99 and $4.25 shipping. And these are used, these are pre-owned. All these are is a 2-piece split collar. They came off of a Dunlop. The 109, I believe, is probably the, well, I know it is. It's the Dunlop 109 under the Craftsman badge. It's not even an Atlas, but we'll sell it to you as an Atlas because, hey, we can sucker you in because we're that stupid. Huh. And I think everything else we've pretty much looked at. You know, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time here today. I don't have the tolerance for a lot of this stuff here today, I don't think. Atlas Craftsman 912 lathe split, half split nut ball and spring set, new OEM parts, $8 and $5.30 shipping. It's a ball bearing and a 79-cent spring. What are you people thinking? Wrenches. They seem to think wrenches are worth $15 and $5 shipping. Atlas Craftsman lathe box wrench with 3/8 square hole, unknown manufacturer. Huh. It's a $4 wrench. Atlas Craftsman, I don't know if I've talked about this or not. I've gotten down this list a little bit. Atlas Craftsman 109 6-inch lathe 4-jaw chuck, pre-owned, $100 or best offer. This is the 3-inch Craftsman chuck that was sold with the 109 or came with the 109. They're a 4-jaw chuck. I've got one out in the shop. I have adapted it to where I use it for a few different things, and I've got some bases made up to use it on the milling machine. You know, it's a 3-inch chuck. 3-inch 4-jaw chuck. If you're going to, and this one's got the backing plate, so it's got the, I don't even remember what the thread is. It's a tiny little thread, half 20 thread for mounting. Atlas Craftsman 109 6-inch lathe, 4-jaw chuck, 3-inch diameter with half 20 thread for mounting an Allen wrench. This is a tiny little chuck. It's very appropriate on a 109. Not worth $100. You know, it. You know, and there again, these are mismarked because, or misadvertised, because they advertise these as an Atlas. They're not an Atlas. They're a Craftsman or a Dunlop. That was a Dunlop produced for Sears under the Craftsman name, or for Craftsman. So don't be sucked into that. You know, when you start looking for Craftsman parts, don't be sucked into buying 109 parts, because that's not what you've got. Another 6-inch lathe, excellent setup, 618, $1,800 or best offer, and $300 to ship it. Rip off. I think I covered this lathe. Yeah, I believe. I don't know if I released the video under what to look out for on Atlas lathes or not, but I looked at this lathe. Here's another one, Atlas metal lathe, slightly used condition, and I've looked at this. I'm not going to open up the. Well, yeah, I guess I will, and then I'm gonna quit this foolishness. This is not fun today. What's our description say? Atlas metal lathe in like new condition. Original in-box owner's manual and original brochures. The circa 1959 model 5982, serial number 001203, 12-inch by 24-inch standard gear change, was purchased from McDonald Machinery in St. Louis, Missouri company in 1959 and never used. The owner died at a young age. I purchased from widow 40 years ago. I piddled very little as the machine shows nowhere anywhere. The bedways are as new, not a nick. Comes with lots of tooling and measuring instruments, mostly Starrett. It comes with, I think, 2 dial indicators. One of them's in one of the Starrett kits. That's all the measuring instruments I see. Everything photographed except toolbox, including non-factory stand, has never changed a gear or belt. The only sign of age is a few paint chips and dried lubricant. A very unusual find, but needs to go, as I am 80 and don't want my kids to have to deal with it. I have a shipping company total that would blanket, tie, and ship anywhere. Now, I think this is probably a decent machine. You know, I think this is a this is a 3000 series lathe, you know, and I don't do much with them. This probably would be a very good lathe for someone, but be aware it's not actually described in its actual condition. For its age, it's in pretty good shape, but it's not in excellent condition. It's not like new, you know. It appears that everything is there. Looks to be a complete lathe. I see a 4-jaw chuck. What else do we have here? And I'm not going to pick this apart too much. There's a faceplate and a spindle nose protector. See a lot of either cosmoline or crud on it. Now, one thing I do see is there's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's about 6 drill chucks. And at least a large portion of those appear to me import chucks. So something's been done with it along the way, or someone has some extra stuff to go along. I see 1 Starrett indicator set, which is, you know, I can't really tell. What do we got? It looks like a fairly complete set. It's one of the red boxed sets. Earlier set of indicators, and I see one on some sort of a mount set up on the cross slide that I can't tell if that's a Starrett or not. It's quite a bit yellowed. You know, it's a very short indicator. There's only a 1/4 or 1/2 inch of travel there, it looks like. Tooling wise, lantern tool post, there's some threading dies. You know, I see a couple of lathe dogs and a couple of those $15 wrenches. There's some tool posts, there's tool holders for the lantern tool holders, and there's some stuff that doesn't necessarily, to me, look like it goes with that lathe. Probably be a good lathe. You know, I don't know if the commercials are worth $3,000. You know, anyway, what it is what it is. So that's about all I've got. I think I'm going to go out and try and get a little more work done before the day is out. I have added a couple of things that we don't have up on the website yet. I have added a set of soft jaws for the milling attachments for on the 6-inch lathe. You know, we did the 10 and the 12-inch lathe milling attachment for on the lathe that we got the price down to fairly reasonable on those, and we've added the 6-inch jaws. So I've got the first set of those are going out. A gentleman was interested in a set of those and a set of swivel pins for his 6-inch. So I'm sending him a set of swivel pins. We've got tooling set up to do those now too, and I will add those to the website. Those are still going to be refined. I'm going to need some feedback from him as to the actual length that those need to be. I've left this set a little bit long for him because we had a little bit of confusion about what size lathe we actually wanted things for. I had to get that clarified, so that's what prompted adding both the jaws for the 6-inch milling attachment and the pins for to hold the compound in place. So that's where we're at with those. So hopefully you find this a little bit interesting. You know, on these little Fleabay editions, I think some of the prices have come down a little bit. I think maybe people are starting to realize that they're not going to get the big bucks that they want. And, you know, I'm kind of tired of doing these, but by the same token, I think if we don't continue to hammer on these and bring this to light, well, I think these guys are going to try and run these prices up. and continue to get them to rise, and that doesn't help us here in our own little shop, in our home shops. So we'll keep at it. I don't know how often I'm going to do these, although we're going to keep pounding on these guys. I check this stuff every day, so I might as well share it with you too. And comments or suggestions, leave them in the comment section for me below. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, I'd appreciate it if it interests you. Helps the channel grow. And as always, guys, thanks for taking the time to watch.